boys, welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm basically going to break down exactly how I collapsed timelines and basically transcended my agency and everything to 100k a month run rate, and basically allowed me to get whipped like this as well at 19. So yeah boys, make sure you watch the entire video and you're gonna thank me later.
Time isn't linear, okay? So this video is hopefully going to change the way you see time forever, okay? Because you've been taught that time looks like this, right? You have the past, and then comes the present, and then comes the future, right? But that's a big lie, okay? Because time isn't linear. The past doesn't exist, and the future doesn't exist. So you only have the now, all right? You only have this present moment right now. This is the only thing that you have and that you can actually control, right? And until you like fully get this, you'll keep waiting, delaying, wondering why your life loops and wondering why you don't get anywhere, okay? Because waiting itself is like a state of being, all right? And as you know by now, being always wins, right? So all I ever have is now, and now contains all possible futures and pasts, okay? So think about it, all right? The past is just a memory, and memory only exists in the now. Let me repeat that one more time, okay? The past is just a memory, and memory only exists in the now. And the future is just imagination, right? And that also only exists in the now, okay? So the past is a memory, the future is a memory, and both of them only exist in the now, right? Because you think about them, right? So when you obsess about your past or chase your future, you're literally just running in loops in this present moment, okay? You're basically obsessing over something that's, you know, just running in loops, right? And this is why you never like arrive to that place that you want to go, right? That's why you never hit the 20, 30k, 50k a month, right? Because your signal in the now, like in this present moment, is that I'm not there yet. And as you know, the mirror, let me see if I have this mirror. The mirror doesn't lie, my bro. It doesn't fucking lie, right? So when you signal like that I'm not there yet, the mirror basically reflects exactly that back at you, okay? Um, so for example, if you have a voice in your head that says, this is like a past, we can call this like a past voice, all right? Like a voice from the past that says, I've always struggled with money. Then your future voice will probably say, once I close a client, then I'll feel safe. But then my question to you is, what about the present, right? The present will basically just signal lack, right? That I'm not there, I don't have, right? And because of that, reality will basically mirror the signal that you send to it, right? So you'll basically just keep struggling, right? You'll run in loops, right? You won't understand why you're not there yet. You'll oscillate, right? Up and down, up and down. Things never going your way, right? And this is basically where Frederick Dodson hit me with literally the biggest shift of my life, right? Because I was in this exact loop, right? And if you guys know who that is, he basically wrote probably one of the greatest books of all time, honestly, on basically like identity shifting and quantum leaps, and he's very much about like the present and being and not doing and all that stuff. So it's right here. Let me move this. This is basically the book, right? This is like the greatest book of all time, like fucking Parallel Universes of Self. Probably never heard of it. I personally had never actually heard of it myself either. But once I got a friend who basically told me to read this book because it was so cracked, then I basically read it, right? And that's kind of where everything shifted, right? Because he said in the book, this is what hit me so hard, okay? Waiting is a state of being signaling basically to the mirror that you don't want the present, you want the future. But the truth is, like, you'll never get there, right? Because you must bring the future into the now in order to manifest it. Think about that, okay? You probably have so many areas in your life now as well where you're like waiting, waiting for something. Because like these few sentences here, like this paragraph here, that basically destroyed me in the best way humanly fucking possible, okay? Because this was back in like 2023 when I read it for the first time. And at the time I kept saying like, oh, I'll start mentoring people and, doing exactly what I'm doing now. Once I hit like 50K a month with my agency, right? Because, then I got some proof, blah, 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 blah. And that was my belief, right? And obviously my self-image reflected someone who only has a desire to do mentoring and shit, and obviously my ego voice, as you guys know, it's very rational, it's very logical thinking, so it kept defending that self-image, which, so it kept saying like, oh yeah, because I can't mentor people if I haven't gone the path myself, blah 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 blah, like all this nonsense, right? And yeah, basically that self-image basically reflected the belief that I'll start mentoring once at 50K months, right? And then that kind of became a self-image that I'm not a person who's doing 50K months at all. And then my ego voice kept defending that, right, with the state and actions and so on. But I also like, because this repeated unconsciously in my mind so many times, like also spoke it out to my friends as well so many times, that I'll start mentoring once I hit that, certain figure. And guess what, right? That belief was the same belief that kept me stuck at around like 15, 20K a month. Because I was basically signaling to the mirror that I'm not the mentor yet, right? But when I actually realized this and became aware of it, like everything just shifted, right? And I stopped waiting and I said, no, I am the mentor now, right? Basically bring the future into the now and signaling that, I am that guy right now. And I started acting from that identity. The external reality had literally no choice but to catch up, right? Literally like 3 days later, I randomly got a DM of someone who wanted me to mentor them. Like, how crazy is that, right? Everything just fucking shifted, right? And that's the power of collapsing the future into the now. Okay, you basically collapse time. Everything just speeds up. Because what you do then at that time is that you basically jump from this timeline right here all the way like up here, for example, all right, where you are that mentor. And time, which we could say is like all these dots, right, just collapses, right? So basically, like, it smushes into like a sandwich, you could say. Like, it's just boom, you just shoot up right in there, and things move so fucking quickly as well. This is what gonna happen when you quantum leap. Like, things will just go, time will move so fucking fast because you're going through, think of it as a plane, right? You're literally flying through the sky instead of being a car who has to drive all these like turns and up and down, and oh, maybe there's a car accident there, we have to wait, blah 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 blah. But the plane just fucking shoots, right? It just fucking flies straight through it, because it's above you essentially. So that's like a really good analogy for the quantum leaping, right? Because you have to realize as well, like literally every single version of you already exists right now. Okay, it already exists in the now, right? And as you guys know, this is the quantum field, right? Everything exists in the now, right? The 5K version of you might be here, the 20K a month version of you might be there, right? The 50K a month version of you might be here, 100K self right there, the mentor version, the homeless person, the one who got kicked out from his parents' house, like whatever it might be, the burnout version, the version who's hustling, grinding, the one who's eating Doritos every single day of the week, like every single version of you exists right now, like literally right now. Um, and this is what Vadim Siland talks about, like space of variations, right? The field of infinite possibilities, which is basically the quantum field, right? Literally every single lifeline that you might possibly think about exists right now as I speak, like literally right now, right? And you don't create them, right? You just tune into them because you have to first gain awareness on that lifeline, right? How does that life look like at that, level, right? Which we're going to go a bit more into a bit later, which is basically like mapping out the new identity and so on, like how the life is there, like how the days look like, everything. Because when you become so aware of them, then you can basically tune into them, right? Think of this as TV channels, right? It's a perfect fucking analogy, right? Think of it like TV channels, right? Or even a radio, right? Every single channel out there exists right now, but you only experience the one that you tune yourself into, right? And your state and actions in the present moment is the same as this remote control, okay? So if you're, for example, waiting, hoping, second guessing, doubting, fearing, you're tuned into the old channel essentially, right? But if you're acting as the 50K a month self now or 20K self or whatever it is, you're basically tuned into that lifeline, right? And the mirror must reflect it, right? When you change the channel on the TV must change, right? It's as simple as that, right? And the exact same thing with the mirror, right? When you basically change the mirror changes, right? It has to change. And this is why like normalization is literally everything, okay? Because if you hype the future, like these crazy high energies, like all my days, like then you basically send that signal into the mirror that I'm not here yet. And so the subconscious will basically reject it, right? It won't believe that you're there right now. But if you normalize it in the present, like you feel like it's normal, it's boring, like it's here right now, then that's basically how you collapse the future into the present. Because in order to successfully quantum leap, and trust me, we're going to go a bit more into this a bit later on, but you have to be internally aligned and also externally aligned. Okay. So internally would be like your state, right? So how you feel about yourself. If you generally believe that you are that guy right now, right? And we don't care about the outcomes and you're so obsessed about like just being that guy right now and that stuff, then that's cool, right? That's like internal alignment. But external alignment is basically the actions you take, okay? Because the actions that you take, they must reflect that state, right? Like, for example, like a really great example of this, like at the time I'm recording this, um, I felt this insane, like high energy, like pull towards just booking a cabin up in the up in a random Norwegian mountain, right? Like I just felt like all of a sudden like so like energetically drawn to it, and the more I think about it, the more aligned that was with the new identity that I basically tune into, right? And what I've done basically is that I basically um, took the action of just booking a cabin, right? Booking a cabin, brand new modern cabin, super aligned, perfect views, literally the exact one my internal alignment, my internal kind of state or energy felt like really drawn to. And I basically booked that cabin, right? And that's just me being like aligned in both ways, right? Internally and externally, okay? And that's basically the signal you send into the mirror, right? And that's why the mirror will basically reflect that, right? That I'm being that guy, right? And it's going to reflect that signal back somehow, right? And that's why like these quantum leaps, they're gonna feel crazy at first, right? But once you stabilize them, they're gonna become boring, right? They're gonna be normal and safe, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like trust me that, like trust that, and that's exactly how you know that the nervous system has kind of accepted it. We're gonna go a bit more into the nervous system a bit later here, but that boring, safe feeling of this is already me is the key to basically collapse time, right? Because my internal alignment here, like my internal was like, yeah, but I am already that guy, right? So of course I'm gonna book that cabin, right? Boom, that's it, right? Um, Now an example of this as well, which I think we've covered a bit earlier here, is the CSM thing, right? So your old belief could be like, once I hit 20 clients, then I'll hire a CSM, right? Because then it makes sense, blah, 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 all this nonsense. But the new belief could be, I am, I am the, you know, 20 client agency owner right now. And that's why I hired the CSM, because I am that guy right now. Okay. And trust me, like this is the only way you can actually like manifest things. Okay. Because again, we only have this present moment, boys. This is literally everything that we have, right? So every time you guys catch yourself saying that, once I hit this number, once I hit X clients, blah, 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 then I'll do this. Just stop right there. Okay. Have conscious awareness and flip it into that I am already that guy right now. And that's why I act that way right now. Okay. And that's how you bring the future into the present. And that's how you bend time. And that's when things manifest and these beautiful things happen. Okay. And that's why you basically hit, 20, 30, 50K, 100K a month so fucking quickly. Okay. Because you basically bring the future into the present. All right. Again, like time isn't linear, right? You don't move forward, you don't move towards your future self, right? You collapse the future into the now by being him right now. Okay. And again, waiting is a state of lack, right? And again, every single version of you basically exists right now. All right. All these parallel realities that exist right now. It's the exact same analogy as this, everything exists right now. You just have to become aware of that TV channel and basically tune into them, right? State and actions here, internal and external alignment. And then boom, the mirror will basically change, right? The TV will basically change the channel, right? So yeah, that was essentially it for this video, boys. And yeah, let's basically get after it, boys. That was Time Isn't Linear.